This is a production of PBS Charlotte.
Just ahead on Carolina Impact.
I'm Sharon Smith. Craft brewing is a growing industry in Charlotte. Coming up on Carolina Impact, I'll show you how these small business owners could get hit by the international trade war.
Plus, an ancient art gets a modern-day edge inside the studio of Charlotte artist Jill Seal. And meet a former police officer turned beach music crooner. Carolina Impact starts right now.
Carolina Impact, covering the issues, people, and places that impact you. This is Carolina Impact.
Good evening. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Amy Burkett. Charlotte area breweries have become more than just a place to get a cold beer. They're networking spots, community supporters, and many offer families a place to socialize. There are now more than 250 breweries across our state. The craft beer boom has become an economic powerhouse with an annual impact of $1.2 billion and 10,000 jobs statewide. But the neighborhood hangouts are threatened by growing concerns of an international trade war. Carolina Impact's Sharon Smith tells us how that could cost everyone.
Hey, good defense.
Springtime in Charlotte means more patio time, more friendly cornhole competitions, more sips in the shade and under the sun.
It's awesome. Really nice.
At local craft breweries like Birdsong on North Davidson Street.
It's just really chill here, and like the bartenders are always super nice, and like they have some of my favorite beers on tap.
All good things managing partner Chris Goulet likes to hear. This is your baby, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Behind each pour is a barrel from a batch crafted with care.
This is a session IPA, so we dry hop that with Amarillo and Idaho 7, which are two kind of smaller hop varieties.
Goulet is a beer enthusiast with a mind for business. In 2011, he left corporate banking to branch out on his own, and Birdsong was hatched, one of the Queen City originals.
All of a sudden, Charlotte went from not really too interested in local beer to like really excited about local beer. And you can see that with the number of breweries. I think we're just about to hit 20 for Charlotte City breweries, Charlotte proper.
Oh, wow.
40 plus once you start counting surrounding towns.
Their own story includes double or triple-digit growth every year and a sizable investment in tanks, kegs, and cans, all of which could cost more under new tariffs imposed by President Trump as part of a trade battle with China. 25% on imported steel, 10% on aluminum. That means each can, which costs about 15 cents now, will probably cost more next time.
We're gonna be close to maybe a little bit under 1 million cans this year. So, you know, if you're talking about a 10% increase, a penny and a half on 1 million cans adds up pretty fast.
Tariffs could tack on $15,000 to the cost of canning.
So that, you know, isn't the kind of cost that a small business can just kind of like brush under the carpet.
You have to pass it on somehow.
Right.
Customers will ultimately get stuck with the bill, which is why the North Carolina Craft Brewers Guild opposes tariffs, saying the spike will put a chill on one of the state's fastest growing industries. At South End's trendy Wooden Robot, expansion includes a new restaurant to complement what's on tap.
It just made more sense to have something that was in-house, and it also gives you the opportunity to step up your game as far as cuisine. And
Sales Director Mike Eide says the tariff on steel could affect their bottom line in a big way.
25% is a lot.
A potential cost jump when it comes to opening another location full of shiny new tanks.
If you walk back there, there's a lot of steel, a lot of metal. You know, even the coolers, you know, you walk in that cooler, it's just full of kegs.
Brewed in small batches, craft breweries help satisfy a thirst for something different.
As time's gone on, it's become even more uber local. So they start off more regional, then statewide, and then it was citywide, so that, you know, people wanted Charlotte beers.
Each new recipe is a nod to neighborhood flavor. It helps explain why craft brews are so popular. But still, local means lower volume, which also means less purchasing power to offset market spikes. Back at Birdsong, hundreds of freshly filled beer cans are ready to be sold. Taps flow as the happy hour crowd settles in.
We like it because they have great beer and it's reasonably priced.
Goulet says they can't control tariffs or their impact, so he's more focused on what can be done.
But we're always trying to figure out how do we stay competitive and how do we make sure that like the customer feels like they got, you know, the better part of the deal.
Even if their beer costs a little more. For Carolina Impact, I'm Sharon Smith reporting.
Thanks so much, Sharon. Craft brewers are also keeping tabs on a civil lawsuit filed against the state. 2 Charlotte breweries are seeking to change the beer distribution law, which currently caps how much product they can distribute without using a wholesaler. Well, you might be interested to know that a recent Gallup survey showed beer is the most popular alcoholic drink in the country. The rise in popularity of craft brewers is giving rise to a new hobby, home brewing. And Charlotte is quite the hub for home brewers. We have Jen Blair with us now, who is the president of Carolina Brewmasters. And Jen, you guys are one of the biggest organizations in the southeastern United States. Pretty impressive.
That's correct. We are one of the largest homebrew clubs in the southeastern United States. We currently have about 200 members within the Charlotte metro region.
And while we may just be hearing about this gaining popularity these days, but it's been around for a long time.
It has. The Brewmasters have been around since about the late 80s. Homebrewing actually wasn't legalized until 1974. Before that, there was some homebrewing, but it's been growing ever since then.
How do folks get started?
The easiest way to get started is to visit one of the homebrew clubs such as ours or another homebrew club, just to talk to people about what's involved and have them sort of answer a lot of your preliminary questions. You can also find homebrewing kits that are available that will get you started with just the basics with some fairly simple procedures that you can do on your stovetop.
Is it expensive?
It can be expensive, but starting out, if you go for a kit, that would probably be around $100 to $150. The homebrew systems can go anywhere from there up to very sophisticated, completely electronic systems.
How long does it take to actually make the beer?
The beer itself on a brew day will typically take between 2 to 4 hours to make, and then it ferments for about 3 weeks. So all in, you have about 3 weeks from the time you make it until it's ready for you to enjoy.
And once it's ready to enjoy, is there a shelf life? How long will it last?
It depends on the style, but usually 3 to 4 months is a good rule of thumb to follow. If you're making a higher alcohol beer, you may want to let that age a little bit longer, much like you do with wine.
What are some common misconceptions about folks getting started in making their own beer?
I think one of the biggest misconceptions is that it's very complicated, and it's really not. You can certainly get into the numbers and the technicalities of it, but it's very simple to get started. Another misconception is that homebrew, a lot of people have experiences with the neighbor or the uncle who made homebrew, and they don't think that it can be very good. And the quality of ingredients and equipment that's available now to homebrewers means we have a lot of homebrewers making really excellent beer.
You give advice to folks. If people wanted to get in touch with you, how do they find you?
They can visit our website at carolinabrewmasters.com. They can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Jen Blair, thanks so much for being with us. We appreciate your information so much.
Thank you.
Now to a story that will truly mesmerize you. Charlotte artist Jill Seal created award-winning product designs featured in major retailers. Her clients include the White House, Kennedy Center, and National Geographic. Her work has even been commissioned for Sir Paul McCartney. So, you can imagine that it took nothing less than profound inspiration to walk away from that career and begin another at the age of almost 60. Seal found her creative calling on a trip to Florence, Italy, in an ancient technique known as marbling. Now she's wowing the world with her modern vision of a lost art. Producer Russ Hunsinger captured the creative process.
Let's marble. It's a nice medium that offers a variety, a constant variety. And it's just joyful for me to create. It's not a thinking thing, it's just a feeling thing. and it's so mesmerizing. It's all I ever want to do. It's a little like, for me, like watching the ocean or watching a fire, where it's the same thing, but it's different every time. It starts with a bath of thickened water. Then you mix paints that you float on the water. I'm gonna drop it randomly. You drop it or you knock it with a brush, and the paints don't mix. I think that's it. It's all on the surface tension, and they just push the other paints out. Once you have the paints on that you want, you use a stylus and combs and create different patterns. There's a sequence that I do the movements in with different combs, and that'll create a predictable pattern. Once you've got your pattern, you take a piece of paper and you gently lay it down, kind of roll it onto the surface. Ready? And then you peel it up and the paint has jumped onto the paper. It's really fascinating. I might use an actual piece of marbled paper and decoupage it on a tray. I'm using an actual sheet of marbled paper and then glue the paper onto the glass. Or jewelry. These are cuffs. It's kind of decoupage on the outside, or I digitize it and then create fabrics with it. I'm doing some wearables like scarves and pants and gowns that will be on the runway in Paris and Kuwait. I love seeing where somebody else takes the design. I like when somebody I'm collaborating with has a vision for it. These are gift wrap and some dinnerware. I've kind of moved into textile design with marbling. This is an example of how a furniture manufacturer would use my fabrics. I work with textile manufacturers in North Carolina who can print textiles for me. Then I use local sewers who make the products for me. I buy my fills for my pillows in North Carolina. It's all bench made in North Carolina. I've shaken the hand that's made my products. I feel happy that a lot of North Carolina people are employed, and that's important to me. While this is happening, I'm kind of watching what's interesting in the tray. I like to take this time-honored craft and bring my own creative dialogue to it. And the experimenting is thrilling too. Here, let's do that. I mean, to create something from nothing is almost holy. I think that's why we're here. For me, my art, I just want people to enjoy it and feel good, whether it's products that I've designed or something beautiful. It's about happiness.
Thanks so much, Russ. Seal's love of marbling began as a child with her mother's marbled china dishes. Now, she says reinventing herself at this stage of her life has given her a sense that she's not at the end of the road, but at the beginning of a brand new adventure. She calls it both inconvenient and soul-saving. Well, for some people, retirement offers the perfect opportunity for reinventing yourself. While a lot of retirees spend their days tinkering in a garage or woodworking or gardening, one former police officer decided to take a different path. He started a band based on his favorite music from his youth. Long after the beach music craze of the 60s, the Fort Mill Shaggers are sharing the toe-tapping style of music with a new generation. Carolina Impact's Jason Terzis continues his look at beach music's most iconic bands in our Summer Sand and Shag series.
From the coastline to the Queen City, the sounds of the surf have been a favorite among local music fans for decades.
I grew up listening to the Embers, Band of Oz, and Shakers. I said, I hope those guys never go away.
Beach music evolved through the 60s and 70s, hitting its peak of popularity in the 80s.
I always say beach music was at its height then. There were a lot more beach music stations, and that's all that played is beach music.
Taking advantage of that popularity, Mitch Simpson formed the East Coast Rivieras in the early 80s.
It went for 9 years. We recorded only original beach music.
Playing with the band was a weekend escape for Mitch, whose real job was working as a police officer in High Point.
And the day I turned 21, I was sworn in, hit the streets. I worked there until 2002. I had the equivalent of 30 years. I was able to retire at 47 and a half.
Once he retired and turned his badge in, Mitch's musical passion started re-emerging.
It just hit me like a ton of bricks one day. I said, you know, why are you not doing what you have always wanted to do full time? You've got the pension, the North Carolina pension that you can fall back on. And I had a long talk with my wife about it, and she's my biggest cheerleader. She said, absolutely, you go for your passion. Rarely do people get to do that, so she said, you go for it.
So in 2004, Mitch began researching and talking with people in and out of the music industry. If he did it, he wanted to do it right.
And I remember getting advice whenever I was thinking about putting it together. So, Mitch, don't just do beach music, because it's a slimmer piece of pie than it used to be. The genre is still strong, but it's not as strong as, in some regards, as it used to be.
Oh, sweet Lustrous baby.
Mitch created the Summer Days Party Band, and for nearly 14 years has been entertaining crowds with a mix of beach and dance music.
It's a good band, good party band. You're able to get the feel of the old school beach music, and you're able to get the feeling of the dance music.
Mitch has assembled a crew of talented musicians who refer to him as the band daddy. He runs it like a business, which means at times difficult decisions have to be made.
Anytime you put a band together or any kind of group together, some people stick, some people fit in that, and some people don't. I had to part ways with some very close friends of mine.
He's added a vocalist, Stacy Danner.
And when the music's through, he's looking for a little romance.
Unbelievable vocalist.
They say he's gonna leave, girl, I'll tell him I'll take that chance. Oh.
Thanks to Stacy's singing, the band's latest release, Rockin' a Hard Place, made it all the way to #1 on the beach music charts.
Countdown rolls on with the song that's moving up everybody's charts. This is the latest from the Summer Days Band, featuring Stacy Danner and Rockin' a Hard Place.
My mom used to say, you've been singing since before you could talk.
And every song I've ever given her, she owns it, and she knocks the cover off the ball every time.
Stacy was nominated for Female Vocalist of the Year at the annual Carolina Beach Music Awards in November.
It was such an honor to be nominated.
She's got great pitch. She sings with a lot of soul. Even if I wasn't in this band, I would think she was probably the best singer out there in the whole genre.
Doesn't get any better than her.
Joining Summer Days nearly 2 years ago at the same time as Stacy was trumpet player and backup singer Tara Kelly.
Stacy and I were both with another band before this one. And Mitch, I remember him calling me up one time. He said, see this right here? I said, yeah. He says, that's your spot. Whenever you want it, it's right there. You know, basically, Stacy and I said, okay, but we're a package deal.
Having Stacy and Tara up front gives Summer Days a unique look in that they don't look like every other beach band out there.
I've had people tell me for years, well, you really need a front man. What, so I'll fit like those other folks or fit like, no, we're who we are, take it or leave it, and most people take it.
We have a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun up there, and I think that dynamic, I think other people see that.
Writing most of the new music that Stacy sings is Summer Days guitarist Pat Cashin. He's been in the music biz for years.
You've got writers in your band, put them to work. Put out their stuff. Be known for, this is Summer Days' groove right here, just like Jim Quick is known for his, just like Chairman of the Board, Shakers, Embers. Put out your own kind. Don't try to be one of those groups. Be who you are.
Whether playing the famous Fat Harold's in North Myrtle Beach or the Moose Lodge in Belmont, Summer Days is always ready to put on a show, and a long one at that. A typical night consists of 3 sets of roughly 18 songs each, so playing 50+ songs a night is the norm, with a good mix of original as well as covered material.
We can do 60-Minute Man or Summertime is Calling Me, and then Bruno Mars, and that dance floor is packed.
It's a hoot. I mean, I can't believe we get paid for this, you know?
I think it's pretty safe to say this former police officer is enjoying his retirement. For Carolina Impact, I'm Jason Terzis reporting.
Thanks so much, Jason. Summer Days has 2 new songs set to be released in the coming weeks, So Glad and Home Cooking. You'll want to check them out. I know I do. Well, we're counting you down to the annual Bloomy Awards here on PBS Charlotte. The Bloomies honor the best in high school musical theater at 46 high schools across 10 counties. And the awards ceremony itself isn't just a chance for kids to walk the red carpet Hollywood style. It's also a celebration of all the hard work that every school puts into those student productions. Jeff Saunier has the story of a cover girl who gets her turn in the spotlight. He joins us from the Blumenthal Performing Arts Center with a preview of the big night.
Yeah, Amy, Bloomy Night will be here on a much bigger stage than most of these high school kids have ever been on or will ever be on. And when all these seats are filled, when it's finally showtime, well, don't be surprised if there are still, you know, a few butterflies.
5 minutes.
After all those rehearsals,
You're going with them?
What else would you have me do?
in front of mostly empty seats,
Stand by, Ian, fade out.
it's the moment every high school theater kid waits for.
I think it's just the way the audience reacts is what really makes me motivated to keep doing theater.
You've done it, Quasimodo. This
When the music starts,
it's a map. It's a map. Look.
During classes, I'm like quiet as a mouse, but like when I really get to that stage, I just let everything go.
Clearly, I'm the one who can save the day. You'd be in the way. So hey, come back here.
Really for me, it's when I first see the wave of just people coming in and just see them when the lights finally shine on us.
There's a feeling, there's like a rush that can't really be created with other things.
but for senior Sophie Fair, it's different. For years, her starring role has been creating award-winning cover art for the programs here at Ardrey Kell High School, and designing sets and backdrops too. So Sophie's been behind the curtain on opening night, never in front of the curtain though, until now.
What's harder, auditioning or actually being on stage and performing?
Definitely auditioning, because you know that they're judging you. An entire room full of people just judging your every move, especially in high school, is just kind of terrifying.
But there she is, Sophie rehearsing and performing for the first time on a high school stage, except, you know, when she's creating a new prop or something.
Hey, I need this prop tomorrow, and it needs to look exactly like this. And I don't even have to draw it out for her.
Sometimes they would have to pull me out of music rehearsal and be like, hey, can you do this for me? And like, can you like sketch out the window for the set?
You'll also find Sophie's sketches online, where her YouTube channel has almost 8,000 subscribers, with 20,000 following her on Instagram.
So I would just post doodles and like sketches and just like little like mundane things, and then eventually like people were interested in my characters, and so I would just start sharing my ideas and stories. I would love to go into animation, cartoons, and the expression of these over-exaggerated characters is something that, like, watching theater, I see them as these characters, like especially with Hunchback, which was already an animated cartoon.
Yes, your friend.
So are you imagining scenes on stage
No more need for a heart of stone.
as they would be in an animated version?
Absolutely. I think all of my friends are definitely like, they look like cartoon characters, and just the way that they hold themselves, and it's just easy to take that and imagine what like a cartoon scene would be.
In fact, Sophie's working on her own animated characters now, and while they don't exactly look like her theater friends at school,
all my gadgets are in there, including the map.
the characters' voices
In a place of miracles.
are her theater friends at school.
It's like an actual cartoon thing that I have a lot of the cast from Hunchback working on. We're all just kind of voice acting the characters, and it's a real passion project, and I'm excited because it's something that I've never done before.
Something she's never done before? Yeah, like being on stage for a high school musical.
And like I've just felt myself get better and better. Like every time the curtain opens, I'm like, oh, this isn't too bad. Like it's fine. And we've prepared a lot for this, so I think it's going to be really fun. It's going to be cool, and I hope everybody enjoys it.
By the way, this is a copy of Ardrey Kell's program for their musical, Hunchback of Notre Dame, and yeah, that's Sophie's artwork on the cover. And if you follow Sophie online, you'll see where she writes often, "Hire me Disney." Not exactly subtle, but Sophie says that's her dream job, a chance to combine her love of theater and her animation skills on a much bigger stage where everybody can see and enjoy. Amy?
Thanks so much, Jeff. I am always amazed by the talent in those high school musicals. Well, you can see this year's Bloomy Awards on Tuesday, May 29th at 8 p.m. only on PBS Charlotte. Thanks so much to a special grant from our friends at Wells Fargo. Well, for those of you who enjoy watching Carolina Impact but are not yet an investor in PBS Charlotte, please consider making a tax-deductible donation today by going to our website at pbscharlotte.org. Thank you so much for watching this evening. We always appreciate your time, and we look forward to seeing you back here again next time on Carolina Impact. Good night, my friends.
A production of PBS Charlotte.